Oh, I am echoed. Good morning, everybody. It's still morning, right? How's everybody doing? Yay! It's so nice to see all these faces in this room. I know we're a little crammed, so thanks, but there are a couple seats scattered around, so if you want to squeeze in, please do. So come on in, come on in. Well, welcome to Cincinnati. My name is Beth Romeo. I am the current chair of the Central States Alliance for Community Media. Thank you so much for joining us at our conference. We have a really, really fun couple days planned for you that I think you are just going to be leaving this conference completely enriched and recharged and energized to go do the work that you do. So we really hope you get the most out of this conference that you can. And I'm really excited about what we have planned. So please take a look through all of the conference information that we gave to you. You'll see the itinerary of everything. So I'm not going to blab at you too much, but before I toss it off to a couple of people, I do want to thank some people in the room first and for kind of pulling this all together. And those people are thanks to my board. So any board members in the room, will you raise your hand, Central States Board? So we got Mark, Otto, Chip. Thank you, guys. And Ashley and Laura are running the registration out front. Steve Sobel's running around somewhere. I definitely want to just for sure thank Chip and Steve for doing a lot of the groundwork here. And then Ashley, who most of you probably met when you came in, she did a lot of work on this conference. So this would not have come together without all of those people, but specifically those people. So how about another hand for them? Because yay! All right. And another thing that also really made this conference come together is a local planning committee. And I don't know if there are some of you who might be in the room who helped with that as well, but some people locally kind of came together and helped organize this as well. I know Tom in the back, who you'll meet in a little bit, had a lot to do with planning as well. So thank you to you guys. Then I also want to thank, of course, our vendors and sponsors. You'll notice throughout this conference that we have a lot of time for you to meet and mingle with those folks who are just in the room right next door, and please do that. We gave you that time so you can really get to know those folks because they have some great products and some great things to tell you about. And conferences like this really wouldn't happen if they didn't give us that support. So I gotta give a shout out to our silver sponsors, Comrex and Castus, who are here, woohoo. Our bronze sponsors sponsor Tightrope Media Systems. I gotta look at my notes so I don't forget anybody, you know. Daniel's in the back, woohoo. And also we have Enco and iVideo Technologies who are here. So again, really cool tech stuff. So go check that out. I want to toss it off now to Rocky Mers, who is from the city of Cincinnati, who just wants to say a nice welcome to you, and we appreciate him for being here. So come on up.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Cincinnati. She said, my name is Rocky Mers. I serve as the Director of Communications here in the city of Cincinnati. So as part of that work, we've got city cable under our shop. So that's part of our responsibilities, although I'll say Steve really does all the work. You guys know Steve. So we're so happy to have you here, and I'm sure you've got plenty to talk about. I did want to say that from my perspective, the role that you provide, that community access and government access provides, is absolutely critical. And we are only going to see that increase in importance in these current times. I'm sure you've all seen the headlines with allegations of fake news and the internet spinning sort of out of control. It's more important than ever that we've got direct access to what's happening inside governments and inside these local public institutions. So the role is more important now really than it's ever been. That being said, there's big challenges for us. We've got budget cuts, which is kind of a constant concern. But then there's a changing media landscape as well. So we're going to have to be challenged to find different ways to make sure that our products stay relevant and that we're keeping up with the modern tools. And we're providing our products and our services in a way that can be consumed by people. So I think that's a big challenge for us going forward. I know it's something that we've worked on a lot here, and I'm sure it's something that you all are going to continue to be talking about here today. So with that being said, welcome to Cincinnati. We're happy to have you here. I hope that in between your work, you get some time to get out and enjoy all that Cincinnati has to offer. I don't know what you've heard, but we do have a fairly significant renaissance occurring right now in downtown Cincinnati. It's been remarkable. As you've seen in a lot of urban cores around the city, there's a lot of attention coming back down to the downtown Over the Rhine area. I know Steve mentioned you've got some events planned up in Over the Rhine. You really can't go wrong up there with food and drink. There's a lot of fun things to do. There's a lot of arts. Then you've got the central downtown core, which is where you are here. We also have a brand new streetcar system up and running. Unfortunately, we broke half of it for you. So the southern loop is closed for some construction activity, but the northern loop up and over the Rhine where you'll be is open. So get out there. I mean, if you're into craft beer, I don't think you can find a better place for that. We have more local breweries than I could count that are popping out craft beers. You wonder when the top of that market's going to be. So again, I know you have work to do and it's important, but get out and have some fun and spend your money here as well. So welcome to Cincinnati. Enjoy your time.
Well, thank you so much for coming and speaking to us. And I haven't been to Cincinnati, so who has been here before? Obviously the residents, but okay, so we have a lot of people who haven't. So yeah, if you have some time, please take some time to explore. You'll definitely, it'll be worth your time. So, and now I would like to introduce Mike Wassenaar, the president and CEO of the Alliance for Community Media. So, we are the region of the ACM. So Mike's gonna just say hello and welcome and tell you a little bit more.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. It's a treat to be in Cincinnati. It's my first time here. I'm going to try to take some time to explore some sites, even though the Reds aren't in town right now. That would have been my big number one if possible. And I was told not to talk about chili. So, that said, I want to thank you all for being here and for taking the time to think about the work that you do and the importance it has in your local communities. Something that Rocky alluded to, I think is extremely important for the work that we do. And that is, we're at an historic time where Americans simply distrust media. And I think there's no better institution to be able to build that trust than people who are on the ground in local communities that can have relationships, one-on-one or en masse, with people in their communities. That's the work that you do every day. I think it's vitally important for the future, and that's part of the reason why I'm here with you over the course of the next couple of days. We'll have a chance to talk about a whole host of things. I'll be in a couple of different workshops with you over the course of the next couple of days, but there's also going to be ample time to talk one-on-one, so I welcome the opportunity to catch up with you or to meet you for the first time if I haven't done so already. Thank you for being a part of the conference and for being a part of ACM, and I want to wish you a great couple of days here in Southern Ohio. Now with that, I want to turn things over to a colleague of mine, a friend that I've had a chance to work with as a volunteer and collaborate with on projects over time. He does work now on social impact work in the community, and you may know him from his work long time here in Ohio, but also with the national and regional organizations of ACM. So please come to the podium, Tom Bishop.
Hello, everyone. It is great to be back at an Alliance conference again. Several faces I know. Those of you who don't know me, I worked in this industry for 27 years, running a couple of different community media centers, Norwood Community Television here in the greater Cincinnati area, as well as Media Bridges here in Cincinnati. And I'm still a member of the Alliance, even though I'm not working in the industry anymore, because I believe in the mission. I believe in what you do, and I believe in the good things you do in your community. I work now with an organization called Cause Impact, and our job is basically helping organizations do good better. We help organizations become stronger with their boards, stronger executives. We work on strategic direction, and the big thing we do with a lot of organizations is social enterprise. We help you become more financially independent through creation of ventures that meet up with your mission and the expectations of your community. Now, the guy who started all this is actually going to do an opening plenary for you today. Dave Parker is our founding principal of the organization, and he is kind of our philosopher king. He's a guy who really seems to get the mission of nonprofits, even though he only briefly worked in one. He used to run the National Center for Social Enterprise. His background's in marketing and in research. And in 1999, he started a little organization called Cause Impact, and we're still going strong. Long before social enterprise was a buzzword, Dave was doing it. And so it is my pleasure at this time to introduce to you my friend and colleague, Dave Parker.
this thing on? Okay, so if only there were a technology person in the room to help me with this slideshow. By the way, I need to work on my bio to lower the bar considerably. I'm a little bit older than I look. So I did found Cause Impact in the late 90s, and early years was a principal with the National Center for Social Entrepreneurs, and the founding board chair of the National Center was actually a CEO of a Fortune 200 company at the time called Control Data Corp in the mid 80s, early to mid 80s. They are now Ceridian, still a big company. And he wrote a book a few years ago. It's actually a text in a lot of MBA programs throughout the country, published by Yale Press, called An Eye for Innovation. And Bob was something of a mentor for me. He's still going strong, still in executive residence at Duke University, still travels the country quite a bit. And I still talk to him maybe once every couple of weeks about the work that we're doing at Cause Impact. But in the book, Eye for Innovation, he distilled innovation and technology down to things that are ideas that are graspable by anyone. For example, technology throughout the book, and it's a several hundred-page book about the beginnings and history of Control Data Corp, technology is simply know-how. And so for me, kind of a layperson as it relates to technology as we might consider it today, it's accessible if I view it as know-how. And innovation, he frames as problem solving. That's accessible. I don't have to have any particular background or schooling. We all can view challenges, opportunities as problems to be solved. And so recently I was revisiting, Walden. I was actually revisiting that to try to trigger myself to get to sleep at night. But I was struck again by this observation by Henry David Thoreau. There are 1,000 clipping at the branches of evil to one who's striking at the root. And for me, that serves as kind of an apt metaphor for business writ large. And whether you're a nonprofit organization, you are a business. You're just having to be organized a certain way. That doesn't preclude you from being innovative. It doesn't preclude you from being creative. It doesn't preclude you from viewing things as opportunities as opposed to challenges. And so much of the work that Cause Impact has done has been observing those organizations that despite, and primarily in the nonprofit sector, despite the challenges, whether it be the funding or economics or whatever it may be, or competition. And Mike mentioned what you all have, and I hadn't even considered it, given what you do, the distrust of the media right now. There are challenges every year, and for the almost 20 years I've been having conversations with organizations like yours, there's never been a time where, oh boy, this is just perfect. We've got all the resources we need. There's a mission demand, there's a mission need, and we're fat and happy in realizing that. It's always been an element of we need to do more with less. But despite all of that, and independent of the particular vertical that you work in community media, technology, communications, and I understand there's a whole bunch that goes into that, and the value to the community is beyond the technology or the particularly what you do. It's about trust, it's about communication, it's about integration in a community. So whether it's health and human services, whether it's education, within these different verticals, there are organizations that despite all of the conditions, local, regional, national, they just tend to continue to do well. And so what we found is that what they do on a regular basis, and we call them root strikers, what they do on a regular basis is replicable. It's available to every organization, every individual within an organization, every stakeholder associated with that organization. And now we say we work with the entrepreneurial, mission-driven organization, okay? So it's not just nonprofits. As you probably have observed, and maybe in your own communities, there are individual social entrepreneurs that start something to solve a community challenge, to have a mission result that maybe is not organized as a 501c3 nonprofit. Maybe it's organized as an LC3 or an LLC or a C Corp. Never mind the vehicle, they're trying to produce a result in the community. And so what I want to talk to you about, and what Tom is going to lead you through, he's going to be first chair in a few programs throughout the next couple of days, is the organizations that apply the processes that Tom's going to talk about and teach you. And by the way, we're big believers in do-it-yourselves. You'll walk out of here with some tools and things that you can apply in your own organizations to do it yourself. But these root strikers that apply what we've boiled down to 4 pillars, we call them, 4 pillars of the entrepreneurial nonprofit organization. So these statistics I want to run through are nonprofit organizations. And the results that we're looking at are over a 7-year investigation of organizations that tend to outpace their peers in remarkable ways. And first is that their revenue growth is driven through earned income. So the organizations, 80+ organizations that were studied longitudinally, and 80 comparison organizations that were not what we call root strikers were studied over the 7-year period. The both grew at about 35%, 35%. So they got larger. But the root strikers, what was driving that growth, 43% of that growth was through earned income, which is the equivalent of an unrestricted grant. It was truly revenue that they could deploy as they see fit to further their mission work. Now, the comparison group, their earned income or revenue driving it was tended not be earned income. In fact, overall, their earned income percentage had actually gotten smaller. So they were generally speaking, those that aren't root strikers continually to become more reliant on those sources that we would probably agree are more volatile and less reliable and more competitive as we go forward. And so what are the 4 pillars? And I want to talk briefly about 3 of them, because the 4th is process. And that's what Tom will be leading you through 3 sessions. We'll learn some of the process. Process tends to be a little bit more boring. Doesn't have to be, but I think when we hear the word process, we think dry. Well, I want to talk briefly about the 3 that are really the secret sauce. Passion, perception, and people. And the reason there are 4 pillars, 4 Ps, is to satisfy my need for alliteration. So the first is passion. Now I want to talk just briefly about what that means. I think I'd be very surprised if you're not very passionate about the work that you do, right? I mean, it's part of the reason that you're in this. You wouldn't sort of accommodate or bend over backwards to stay in existence and do the work that you're doing if you didn't have sort of a visceral passion for it. So you're willing to suffer for it, right? I've got 3 kids. Tom's got a kid. Many of you, I'm sure a lot of you have children. You have a passion for your children. That's not just unbounded enthusiasm for them. It's a willingness to suffer. And so when we advocate, say, social enterprise or earned income revenue generators, we apply the same filter, and that's what root strikers do. If there isn't some kind of visceral passion for something new that is intended to generate revenue, don't do it. There are dozens of other things that you could do. Make sure you don't sacrifice that. The other is perception, and this one's a key one. They're all key, but this one I find to be critically important. Are we, and this is a question for you all and a question for your stakeholder, question for your boards, do we view ourselves and are we working from a mindset of scarcity or abundance? Do we view ourselves as a 501c3 charity, or do we view ourselves as an innovative, entrepreneurial, creative organization that happens to be organized as a 501c3 charity, right? One of the things characteristic of the root strikers is they considered dozens of ways to solve the problem and framed problems a variety of different ways. They were bilingual, even multilingual, as it relates to business. So they were comfortable with the word customer, comfortable with the word target market, comfortable with the word competition. right? And so they were better able to take what works in business and apply it to the needs and demands that they have in their own nonprofit work. People. I was observing a interview that Jack Nicholson did with Rolling Stone magazine, and at one point he was getting a little bit impatient with the interviewer, and he finally, in Jack Nicholson fashion, just the look and the way he said it, he said, "I'm just dying to have my mind changed." And his point was, in that particular aspect, this interviewer was trying to box him in, to try to pin him down on some kind of ideology. And I think too often, and our observant of root strikers don't do this, they are very much suspicious that the model that they're thinking and the model that they've adopted is not going to get it done. They don't trust their own judgment. There's a healthy paranoia, a healthy sort of humility around their own thinking. And so they, on purpose, surround themselves, whether it's staff, board, or maybe a kitchen cabinet of sorts, they on purpose surround themselves with people that are going to blow their minds in some fashion. And so those three things, they have careful attention to those as much as they might to process. As much as they might the two-dimensional, does this make sense for us? Do we have the assets to do it? Is it within our vision and mission? Could we do it? But there are other aspects to the decision-making framework that they spend very careful attention to. So the good news is Tom will be touching upon those elements, but really what's going to drive the 6 or so hours that Tom's going to be leading across 3 sessions is going to be process. So I wanted to just frame things a little bit. And one of the things that, process, all of these things can be taught, can be learned. So every one of us in this room can be an innovator and an entrepreneur. It's not some sort of secret knowledge that is not as accessible. And so I encourage you to come at those sessions and all the sessions that you attend with those ideas in mind. So thank you very much. Is it Beth? Is it? Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing a little bit. I think it was good for everyone to kind of have a better idea of what that track is. So you'll notice there's 2 tracks. So one is this track, which I'm calling more of the geared towards the administrator track. So there's going to be the cause impact sessions, and Mike Wassner is going to do a couple sessions. So that might be more for the administrator. But we also have another track, which is more of the production track. So you'll see all of those listed in your program, and you can follow around. But feel free to bounce around in between. It is up to you. So, and I definitely want to thank all of our speakers and presenters who are coming to this conference. We have professors, we have industry leaders, we have teachers, people that know their stuff. So you are going to be totally enriched coming out of this. So I'm really excited about the lineup that we have for you. Just a couple housekeeping things before I send you on your way. We will have a couple snack breaks throughout the conference, but as you all know from attending these things before, it is really easy to just get in the shuffle of workshop to workshop and we forget to eat or we forget to take a break. This is jam-packed, so remember self-care throughout the rest of the couple days. If you need to take a break, just do it. If you need to have a water, go do it, okay? If you need to quietly exit, use the restroom, just do it. But remember self-care, because we don't want you to burn out. We want you to get as much out of this as you can, okay? Can you guys promise me that? Okay, excellent. And then tonight we have a special social event going on at 7. You should have gotten some information in your packet when you walked in. It's a sheet like this that has information about today and tomorrow. So if you didn't get one of those, please stop by the registration table and get one. It gives you some directions and whatnot. But tonight we are at Rheingeist. This event is being sponsored by all of the state chapters. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some light appetizers for you. And we do have a shuttle that is going to be running. Again, this is all in the information, but just so I say it out loud, we're going to meet downstairs in the lobby at 6:30, and from 6:30 to 7:30, we have a van that's going going to be taking you there, because it's a little bit of a hike to walk. So we want you to have a safe ride there, and we'll also be running a shuttle back. So please come to that. Also throughout the conference, we would love you to take pictures and use social media, as we all do. Use the hashtag CSACM. It's on your lovely name tag, CSACM. Use that hashtag so we can find the stuff that you post, okay? And then also there's a mention that we'd like you to use. If you are a social media guru, use @CityOfCincy. So if you're like, go out to a restaurant or something and you eat something great, take a picture of your great food and say @CityOfCincy, okay? And that will help us kind of tag and so we can keep those memories. All right, well, I think I am done talking at you. I want you to have a wonderful conference, and thank you guys so much for being here. These things would not be as great if we didn't have this many wonderful people in the room. So thank you to you, and enjoy. Go forth. Thank you.